Sometimes, between life and death, there is only a single breath, a single moment that can change destiny forever. And today's story begins at a funeral where everyone believed the woman had left the world forever. But a poor looking man, someone no one trusted, spoke words that shook everyone to the core. The cemetery was heavy with sorrow. A coffin decorated with white flowers stood in the middle. Inside lay Judith, the wife of a billionaire. The sky was covered in dark clouds. A cold wind was blowing, and people stood dressed in black, tears streaming down their faces. Everyone had accepted that Judith was gone. Her husband, Williams, stood at the front. His eyes were filled with tears, but his face carried something else too, an uneasiness, as if he was hiding something deep inside. Just then, as people prepared to lower the coffin into the ground, a man rushed forward. His clothes were old, his hair messy, his face weary, but in his eyes burned the fire of determination. This was Benjamin, a man people dismissed as nothing more than a homeless stranger. Benjamin shouted, his voice echoing across the silent graveyard. Stop! Don't close that grave. She's alive. For a moment, the cemetery froze. Everyone turned to look at him. A few people scoffed. He's crazy. Disturbing a funeral like this. Another voice joined in. Get him out of here. William's anger exploded. He marched toward Benjamin, his voice sharp with fury. How dare you? The doctor already confirmed it. My wife is dead. Do you even know what you're saying? But Benjamin didn't flinch. His voice grew louder, steadier. I'm telling you, she's alive. I can feel her breath. If you bury her now, you'll all be responsible for murder. The crowd gasped. Could this be true? Or was this man just out of his mind? Williams was trembling with rage, but Benjamin's eyes carried nothing but certainty. People looked at one another, whispers spreading. Some said, maybe we should check, while others insisted, don't waste time. It's over. But Benjamin didn't wait. He rushed forward, grabbed the coffin's lid and pushed it open with all his strength. Inside, Judith's lips trembled faintly. From her chest, a soft, shallow breath rose and fell. She was still alive. The crowd's eyes widened in horror and shock. Gasps and cries filled the air. What? How is this possible? Oh my God, she's alive! William's face turned pale. Sweat ran down his forehead. His composure shattered, and Benjamin, tears streamed down his face as he whispered almost in disbelief, I told you, she's alive. Benjamin fell to his knees beside the coffin, his trembling hands reaching for Judith. Her skin was pale, cold, but there was still life in her. Stay with me, please, stay with me, he whispered, his voice breaking. The crowd stood frozen. Some cried, some whispered prayers, others stared, unable to believe what their eyes were witnessing. Williams clenched his fists, his jaw tight, panic flickering in his eyes. This is impossible, he muttered under his breath, but no one listened to him anymore. Benjamin tilted Judith's head back, pressed his hands against her chest, and began to give her breaths. 1, 2, 3. His tears fell on her face as he begged, breathe, Judith. Come back to us. Don't let them bury you alive. The cemetery echoed with the gasps of onlookers. A woman cried out, look at him. He's trying to save her. A man whispered, this can't be real. She was declared dead. Benjamin continued, pressing his hands against her chest rhythmically, desperately. His voice grew louder with each attempt. Come back. You're stronger than this. Fight, Judith. Then, suddenly, Judith coughed. A weak, fragile cough, but enough to stop every heart around her. Her body twitched. Her fingers moved slowly. And then, Her eyelids fluttered open. The crowd erupted into gasps and cries. She's breathing. Dear God, she's alive. Benjamin's face lit up with overwhelming relief. He cradled her head gently, tears of joy streaming down his face. That's it. That's it, Judith. You're safe now. I'm here. Judith's lips trembled as she struggled to form words. Barely audible, she whispered, "B. Benjamin." The sound of her voice, fragile yet alive, shattered the silence. Benjamin broke down, holding her close, rocking her gently like she was the most precious thing in the world. But as this miracle unfolded, William stood rooted in place. His eyes darted around nervously, his face drained of all color. He wasn't relieved, he was terrified. The crowd, however, didn't notice him. They were too caught in the wonder of what had just happened. People cried, some clapped, others fell to their knees thanking God. Benjamin held Judith tightly, whispering into her ear, "You're safe now. No one's going to hurt you again. I won't let them." Judith, weak and trembling, looked at him with tear-filled eyes. Though her voice was barely a whisper, the words cut through the air. You, you saved me." The graveyard was no longer silent. Where moments ago grief had filled the air, now there was disbelief, shock, and cries of joy. Judith, who everyone thought was gone, was breathing again. But amidst the chaos, Benjamin didn't move from her side. He stayed kneeling beside the coffin, holding her fragile body with trembling arms. Her voice was faint, almost like a broken melody, but she whispered again, "Benjamin." That single word struck him harder than anything else could. She remembered him. She trusted him. And at that moment, it didn't matter what the crowd thought or how impossible it all seemed. What mattered was that she was alive. Benjamin gently stroked her hair back, speaking softly. "Don't try to talk, just breathe. You're safe now. I've got you." Judith's eyes slowly shifted, weakly scanning the crowd. People stood in stunned silence, many wiping their tears. But when her gaze landed on Williams, her husband, her breath caught, her pupils widened with fear, and she immediately turned her face into Benjamin's chest as if trying to hide. Benjamin felt her tremble and looked up sharply. His eyes locked with William's, and in that single moment, Benjamin understood. Judith wasn't afraid of death. She was afraid of the man who was supposed to love her. The crowd, however, still hadn't noticed. They were whispering among themselves. How did this happen? Was it a mistake? Or was she really about to be buried alive? An elderly woman holding a rosary whispered, "It's a miracle." Benjamin carefully lifted Judith out of the coffin. She was light, almost weightless, her strength completely drained. He held her like something fragile, precious. With each step, he muttered words only she could hear. "I've got you. No one will take you away from me again." Not this time. Williams finally snapped out of his frozen state. He rushed forward, his voice sharp. "Wait, where are you taking her? She's my wife." The crowd turned, watching the confrontation unfold. Benjamin stopped, tightening his hold on Judith. His eyes burned with fury. "Your wife? You were about to bury her alive. If I hadn't stopped you, she would be in the ground right now." Judith's weak voice interrupted, trembling, but clear enough for those nearby to hear. "No, please, don't let him near me." A ripple of shock ran through the crowd. People exchanged confused glances. Why would a wife say such a thing about her own husband? William's face went red. He forced a nervous laugh, trying to mask his panic. "She's confused. She doesn't know what she's saying. She's been through trauma. Everyone here knows she's sick." But Benjamin's voice cut through like a blade. "No, she's not confused. She knows exactly what she's saying. Judith clung to Benjamin's shirt, her fingers clutching tightly despite her weakness. She whispered, almost begging, "Don't let me go back with him. Please." Benjamin's heart broke at the desperation in her voice. He looked back at Williams with cold, unflinching eyes. "You heard her? She's not going anywhere with you." The crowd was no longer on William's side. Murmurs rose. "Why is she afraid of him? Something's not right here. Was she really sick or did he want her gone?" William's mask cracked, his jaw tightened, his fists clenched. But with so many eyes on him, he couldn't act. Instead, he hissed under his breath, "You'll regret this, Benjamin." Benjamin ignored him. Instead, he turned and began walking out of the cemetery, Judith safe in his arms. The people parted to make way, their whispers following him. Some reached out, touching Judith's hand softly, as if confirming to themselves that she was real, alive. Step by step, Benjamin carried her away from the grave meant to swallow her. Each step felt heavy, not because of her weight, but because of the storm he knew was coming. Saving Judith's life was only the beginning. As they reached the gates, Judith stared weakly. Her voice was barely audible, but Benjamin leaned close to hear. They they wanted me gone. I heard them. They planned it." Benjamin froze. His heart pounded. He whispered back, "Who, Judith? Who did this to you?" Her eyes fluttered open, filled with fear. She tried to speak, but her strength failed. Her hand slipped weakly against his chest. Benjamin tightened his grip. "It's okay. Don't force yourself. You'll tell me when you're stronger. Right now, you just rest." Behind them, William shouted, his voice echoing in desperation. "She's my wife. You can't just take her away." But no one moved to stop Benjamin. In fact, some of the mourners turned their backs on Williams. The truth was already spreading in whispers. Truth that Williams had no control over. Benjamin kept walking until the graveyard disappeared behind them. The storm clouds above broke, and a light drizzle began to fall, soaking his clothes. But he didn't care. Judith shivered in his arms, and he held her tighter, whispering, "Don't worry. I'll keep you safe. Whatever they try to do, it's over now. You're alive. And as long as I'm breathing, I won't let anyone hurt you." But deep inside, Benjamin knew this was not over. In fact, it was only the beginning. The woman he carried was living proof of a terrible secret, and secrets that dangerous don't stay buried for long.